Sure.
All right. Welcome to episode 2 of season 2 of Zombie Talk. Today's episode includes Hall of Famer Rick Barry, Zombies GM, head coach Brian Stasaitis, and Zombies player/coach Andre Daniel. The 2022 and 2023 season officially kicked off on Sunday, November 13th, with the team's first open tryout. It was great to have guys returning and some new guys in the gym. Brian, how's the start of the new season going? Tryouts? I'd love to hear about it.
It's the thing is, tryouts were good. We had some new guys in the gym. Some guys that I didn't know about. That just kind of showed up. A couple guys that were a pleasant surprise. A couple guys with a little size, and some other guys. Connecticut guys, a couple Massachusetts guys. Some of our returning guys were there. The thing is with our season, we're still, about 3 months out. So it was good to get the guys back together and get them in the gym and playing together and kind of see where some of the returning guys are and, start to figure out some things.
Nice. Any guys impress you that are new that just completely took you by storm?
Yeah, there was, we had a guy, I don't want to say too much, but we had a guy about 6'6" from Worcester area.
Okay.
I thought he was, he came in, he was impressive. Talking with him a little bit, it was just a guy that's kind of been moving around a little bit, different places and in a couple different stops in his personal life. But now he's kind of established in the Massachusetts area, so that was good. Couple Connecticut guys that I had, come in contact with the last few months that, ended up showing up, that I had conversations with. So it was good, and then, some of our regular returning guys were there, which was good too, to see those guys and kind of see how some of those guys have grown. Definitely some of the returning guys have definitely improved, are in a lot better shape coming into this season than they had been in the past.
And to Rick, I seen you made headlines recently with your comments on Giannis.
Well, shit, you shoot 3 for 15. You need to do something at the freaking free throw line. That's pretty pathetic. Yeah, but none of these guys ever want to do it. I just don't understand. I've had a lot of conversations recently when I've been on different talk shows and in my own podcast that I do. Is that I'm just trying to figure out how in the hell does it work that a guy who is an employee making millions of dollars that his boss is paying him can tell the boss that he doesn't want to do something the boss wants him to do. Like, hey, you guys need to learn to shoot underhanded free throws, and say, I'm not going to do that. Well, then he should throw him out the door. I mean, It's ridiculous. I mean, where in the real world do you have an employee tell his boss, no, I'm not going to do what you want me to do, and still have his job? It's insane.
Yeah.
It's just like Will Chamberlain said, God rest his soul, because I got to know Will really well after we got done playing. I really liked him a lot as a person. We had a lot of fun and good times together. His last book, I think, was called The Inmates Are Running the Asylum.
He's talking about the NBA the players running the NBA.
Was. The inmates are running the asylum. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what's happening. The players have way too much power. You're an employee, for God's sake, and you should be going to church and lighting candles and thanking God that somebody's willing to pay you that ridiculous amount of money to play freaking basketball. I mean, it's insane. And then to tell them, no, I'm not going to do that. I mean, that's nuts. It's absolutely crazy.
I feel like Shaq is the only guy who could get away with shooting 55% from the line, because he did it in so many other ways, but still he could have took your tips.
Listen, if Shaq had learned how to shoot the underhanded free throw and got himself even up to 70-75%, which is still not good, but he would have probably gotten to 80%. But can you imagine Shaq at 80% instead of going to the bench and having the Shaq attack going, putting there and putting them on, having to put the player on the bench because he's a liability? He would have won so many more championships, because a close game at the end. How would you like to have Shaquille O'Neal throw the ball into him? He's going to score some because he'll be able to dunk somebody with the basketball. He's so powerful, and he's going to make his free throws.
The defender scared to foul him too, so they have to give him that extra little space.
And yeah, it'd have been ridiculous what he would have been able to do. But I don't understand, how someone isn't willing to try to get better at what they're doing. That's the point when I talk to businesses and I go out and do these speeches. I said, you can never be satisfied with what you're doing. You always have to strive and look to find a way to get better. The moment you think that you've got it made, that's the start of your downward spiral. It's crazy. I was the best free throw shooter in the NBA, and I got better. I changed. I was better at the end of my career than I was at the beginning. Why? Because I was always looking for ways to improve.
Love that. And I think that embodies who we have with us today is our player coach, Andre Daniels. Dre, I got a ton of questions for you. But the first one is, you've been a member of the Zombies for 4 years. Can you give us a season recap and kind of maybe a little story of what the Zombies have been for you and what they've been to, our fans and everybody else?
Well, over the past 4 years, when I started, we were in the ABA, and that's when Bill had just got the team, and he kept a hold of Brian to make sure that we was being guided in the right way. It was just something new for me, something different, and it turned out to be a very, very good experience and a great experience over the past couple of years. I mean, the way that we came in and started things that season, and the way things went with all the controversy and adversity that we had to go through, getting into the playoffs and the games that we played and the competition that we played against. It was definitely interesting. But it was nice to get out of ABA, and we pretty much, I would say that we upgraded to the ECBL. So the experience with that has been awesome as well. And it's definitely given guys opportunities to, expand their game and go on to bigger and better things. Karan was a great example of that. Rick, that firsthand, seeing how he went to he started with the big three after last season. So that's just a perfect example of that right there.
Well, I think you're very fortunate in all of that. Brian's giving you the opportunity to do this. I mean, the greatest experience in the world. You can only learn so much by sitting and watching. You have to play. So you're a player, and now you're having an opportunity to look at it from a different perspective when you're a coach, because it's a totally different situation when you're there, because you have to put yourself in a different position. You have to analyze what people are doing, what they're not doing. But it's great experience for you. And it's a tough road to get into the coaching ranks, and to have an opportunity to do this, even at this level, I think is something that will pay its dividends for you in the long haul.
Absolutely. Definitely benefiting from, the role that Brian gave me a couple of years ago. So it's been a pretty awesome experience thus far. As far as last season goes, in my eyes, it was a disappointing season because I hate to lose, At the end of the season, at the end of the day, is just something that I felt that a lot of things could have been better, could have been done better. We could have gone about things a different way than what we did. We could have been a lot of things, that was done more properly than how they did go. But to me, last season it was a disappointing end, especially after the way that we kicked off our ECBL, by winning the inaugural conference, Mid-Atlantic Conference Championship. And, we were looking forward to repeating, even though we lost 4 of our All-Stars going into last season. But I think we still did have a good season, but it could have been a great season, and I'm hoping that we're able to bounce back this upcoming season, especially with returning players, and just get back into the winning circle, and hopefully go for the Super Cup title.
So, Dre, you see two sides of the coin, from a coaching lens and also from the player lens.
Mm-hmm.
So what's something, the weaknesses that we could work on, and something maybe you've seen last year that we might have had a little deficiency in, and maybe if these tryouts can fill those gaps?
Defense.
Okay.
Can't stress it enough. Defense.
Mm-hmm.
We have offensive firepower out the ass, and we can light it up on the offensive end, but if we can't stop nobody, it's just going to turn into a shootout. And
you got that right. I mean, the whole core for any team, but it comes to any sport, any team sport, the number one priority has to be a commitment by every player to be the best defensive team that you can be. Teams that aren't good defensive teams don't win championships. I don't agree with the thing that defense wins championships. No, defense allows you to have a chance to win championships, because without it, you'll never win. But you still have to have an offense. I mean, the greatest offense in the world, the greatest defense in the world isn't going to beat teams that have great offenses. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. You got to have some offense. But it all about the defense. I'm watching my old team, the Warriors, who started this season. Their defense, it was an embarrassment. These are defending freaking champions. You know that every time you put your uniform on, you're going out there, and that team, if they can beat you, that's a success for the season for the weak teams in the league. You're going to be a target on your back every time you play. And you're going to go out there and play the kind of crappy defense that they played to start the season when they couldn't even win a game on the road, giving up 128 points and expecting to win. That's not going to happen. And so they need to get their act together. Fortunately for them, as bad as things were, as crummy as they played, they fought their way back to get over 500. Now they're only 3 games or so out of first place in the Western Conference. And that's great for them with, still 3/4 of the season to go. But you're absolutely right. It's all about the defense. Defense is the most consistent part of the game. It's a roller coaster ride for the other stuff, up and down. You just can't count on your offense every game, but you can count on your defense. But it's not individual defense. It's team defense that wins. Because I tell people, I asked Jack Ramsey one time, God rest his soul, terrific coach, obviously, NBA with the Trailblazers and Sixers. And I said, Jack, I'm going to give you 12 players. Now they got 15. I said, I'll give you 12 players. I'm going to give you 12 great individual defenders or 12 great team defenders. Which ones do you want? He said, give me the team defenders. Why? Because I know that I'm going to beat guys that are guarding me. Okay. And if the other team is a crappy team defense, I'm going to get so many easy baskets, it's going to be a joke. But if you have good team defense, even though I beat the guy guarding me, I'm still going to have to worry about his teammates because they're coming over to shut me down and not give me an easy pass to the basket. So that's what it's really all about. It's about making the other team have to earn a chance to be able to beat you and to earn a chance to score, doing various things because you're not giving them easy baskets. Number 1, transition. Take away the number of fast break opportunities the opponents get. Number 2, second chance opportunities. And number 3 basically was, and it's changed now, okay? The 3-point shot is changing. The Warriors have changed it. It used to be make them beat you from the perimeter. Well, folks, the Warriors, when they're on their game, not only could they beat you from the perimeter, they could embarrass you from the perimeter. So you have to have a great game plan. In fact, if I was playing against teams that were good 3-point shooters, I'd switch every screen. I would just never give a team a chance to get behind a screen and take a 3-point shot. If you're going to beat me, you're going to have to beat me shooting the 2s. I'm sorry. That's just the way the game has evolved.
So Coach Brian, I actually have a question for you on this. Are you what's your main philosophy? Because there's kind of 3. There's drop, hedge, or blitz. What do you prefer?
I think one of the things is like with our guys, I like Rick said, I think as the game is evolving, I think it all depends on personnel in the game too. You don't want to put yourself in a defensive situation where we're trying to switch everything or we're trying to, now you end up with your bigs defending guards on the perimeter. So I think for us, we try to hedge more with our bigs, just to not put them in a bad position. I know Jay will tell you, we talk about switching guard to guard and, depending on who the guys are and forcing them, off. I say it all the time in practice. You got to run guys off the 3-point line. Like Rick said, when guys get comfortable, a lot of these guys shoot the basketball well. So I talk all the time in practice about running guys off the 3-point line, and that's the biggest thing, just not the biggest thing I think is just not letting guys get comfortable. Guys are going to make tough shots, but, just not letting guys get comfortable offensively. And like you said, switching, I think guys at the higher levels, you got to be able to switch and defend different positions. But like I said, I don't want Kevin McLaughlin at 6'11" chasing around, a guy like Robbie Jones on the perimeter where now it's a mismatch for somewhere else. So, I think it's definitely the personnel. And like you said, like Rick said, how do you play team defense? What's the team defense, who the guys are on the court. If you have 5 guys that are buying in, then you could, change things up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think situational coaching is the best. Like you said, it's all about personnel at that point in time, not just having this blanket philosophy that you just go by of, oh yeah, we never blitz any screen, we just drop everything or we switch everything. I like the situational stance. So Dre, I've always actually, this is a little random, a little I guess off of the topic, but still on the topic. I've always wanted to ask you this: when and why did you start wearing the headband to every game?
Oh man, I've been wearing a headband since I was in middle school.
Okay.
So that was like my thing. Always been my thing. Actually, when I was in high school, the headband, got a little ridiculous because every time there would be a bad call, I did like did like the Rock with the people's elbow. I would throw the headband into the crowd, but I made sure, I ain't got the money to be going back and forth to the finish line and getting headbands. I make sure that my mom can catch the headbands so I can make sure I get them for the next game. But yeah, the headband's always been my thing. It's always been like one of my signature appliances. Just
Well, Rick has a signature look too. I don't think it's talked about enough. Not enough appreciation goes to Rick's look. He had some court drip. Rick used to pull out the double wristbands right here. If you look
I'll
back
tell you, nobody wore them. But the reason I started doing them is they were actually tennis wristbands. When I played at the University of Miami, we practiced in a gym that wasn't air conditioned. Holy crap! I would sweat I sweat a lot anyway, and it was ridiculous. And so my hands would get so wet I couldn't even hold on to the ball. So I started wearing the wristbands to keep the sweat from getting onto my hands, and turned out to be something I just stuck with all the time. And if they had the kind of publicity they have now with social media and everything, I really looked into the possibility. I wanted to go ahead and come out with wristbands and have it be the wristbands. And unfortunately, I missed out on that as I missed out on 3 more zeros on my freaking contracts.
I don't think you're
you
missing
would have
the
had a great endorsement deal, Rick. That would have been a great endorsement deal. You would have had your own wristbands, and everybody would have been wearing them.
Yep.
Yeah. But I wouldn't trade what I had. I mean, I had a great life doing it. I mean, I never heard the word million in my contract negotiations. That's why I just almost sometimes get very disappointed in these players when I hear them talk about how tough they have it. I mean, my God, they're paying them multi-millions of dollars to play basketball. I can't even fathom that if I was 30 years old, I'd have a 5-year contract guaranteed for $250 or more million playing basketball. I can't relate to that. I'm sorry. That's just beyond my freaking comprehension. It just makes no sense whatsoever that somebody would pay me that kind of money to play basketball. So I wish more guys would stop talking about how tough they have it and just be thankful for what they have. And it's nice to see a lot of these guys starting up their charter schools and the foundations they have and doing some good things for good people, because my God, they got enough money to live 50 lifetimes and take care of their families.
Well, I never knew that tennis thing about you, the tennis story that you played on Miami tennis team.
No, I never played on the team. I played intramurals tennis down there and got into playing tennis back in those days. But no, I didn't. I never played on the tennis team.
So you bridged that into your pickleball.
They tried. I wear my wristbands when I play pickleball, but they tried to get me to go out for football. And I said, well, if you can change it to two-hand touch, I might consider it. And then the Miami Dolphins tried to get me to go out for wide receiver because I was fast and quick, which is unusual for a tall guy. That's why I think I was an unusual player, and that somebody 6'8" with shoes on, that I could run faster and was quicker than guards. And that gave me a tremendous advantage. And that's why I used to run pass patterns for a guy named George Myra, who wound up playing for the 49ers at the University of Miami when he was down there. And, I had really good hands. I mean, you getting it near me, I'm catching it. I mean, and so they tried like hell. The coach came up to me and he says, "What is this? You going out for football?" I said, "What are you talking about, coach?" He said, "Well, they told me that you're out there running pass patterns, and they said, you thinking of going out for football?" I said, "Well, not unless they change it to two-hand touch. I'm not going out for football."
Mm-hmm. So that's where the Miami Greyhound came from?
Yeah, because I, and down there they had the Greyhounds down there at the racetracks, the dog tracks and everything. And I could run. I mean, I was really fast and quick, as I say. But the sport I should have kept playing was baseball, because I was a better baseball player. I was an all-state baseball player, and I was a much better baseball player than I was a basketball player in high school. But it was just too boring and too slow for me, so I never did it. But I look back on it, I wish I had. I wish I had continued with it, because I had really good eye-hand coordination. I rarely struck out. My junior year, I think I only struck out like 9 times the whole season and batted .469. And I was a really good baseball player.
I feel like I'm listening to a Bo Jackson story. Like, how Bo Jackson played every sport and did all this? It's just, it's blowing my mind hearing this from you two.
Well, I could have played. I could have played all these other sports. I mean, I just didn't want to get hit. The last thing I want to do is run a crossing pattern across the middle. There's defensive backs ready to take my head off, and I didn't have any great desire to want to do that. So, football. I learned at an early age that if one of the objectives of the sport is to hit the opponent, that's a sport that I didn't necessarily want to play. Even though basketball, you're supposed to call a foul. There was a lot of contact. It was very physical, but it was against the rules. In football, they're out there. They're trying to hurt you in football. I mean, I try to discourage all my boys from playing football. All of them except my youngest son, Canyon. I was successful with him. The other guys played at least 1 year of tackle football. And I was so happy when they just made the decision on their own to not play. I wasn't going to tell them they couldn't do it. Because I think what I tell parents is that expose your child to as many different sports and as many different things in life as possible. Let them decide what they like the best and then support them in whatever it is they choose.
That's good. It's just amazing to think that you wouldn't be facing. I looked up the 1975 NBA All-Star game. And, I see you on it, and then I just see this long list of people, and it blows my mind every time. I grew up in Massachusetts, so I was on the East Coast. Probably, if I was alive then, I would have been rooting for the other team. But there were 3 Celtics there. It was JoJo White, John Havlicek, and then Dave Cowens. Do you have anything to say to Celtics fans whenever you've seen them or played them? Were they good guys, or what?
All three of the individuals you just mentioned were terrific people, outside of basketball, and all terrific basketball players. Unfortunately, JoJo had health issues, and John, who's no longer with us either, is just very sad. Dave, I gotten to know really well, but it's just good people. And that's the thing. You want someone to be a good person, and they were good people, and they had obviously, fantastic basketball teams and were the dominant team for so long in the NBA. And I had the good fortune of knowing a lot of the players on there. I'll tell you guys this will be a quick one for your fans. They'll love this one. This is one of the great stories ever as far as broadcasting. Of course, the broadcaster for the Celtics, Johnny Most, famous broadcaster who had a gravelly voice, was a chain smoker, just a character. And Havlicek's got the ball, and Havlicek throws the ball. I mean, so we went over to play. They went over to play. I was done playing ball, and they were doing the McDonald's Open stuff, which was basically the NBA teams playing against the foreign teams. And we were over in Rome playing the game, and they were going to play. The Celtics were playing against one of the teams from Serbia, I think, or whatever it was back there. And so, they've got some really strange names over there. I mean, it's very difficult names. And so you're doing play-by-play. You're supposed to go out there and actually learn the names of the players, right? Mm-hmm. Well, not Johnny Most. You should look it up. I think it's on YouTube somewhere. There's a video, a recording of it, an audio track or something. And Johnny Most, and the guy with the beard throws the ball to the guy with the mustache, and the guy with the mustache dribbles. I mean, he never mentioned. It was absolutely hysterical to listen to his broadcast of that game. So if you ever get a chance to find that one, folks, go ahead and listen to it. If you can listen to that and not laugh, then you got a problem.
As the color guy for the zombies, that's pretty funny. I don't think I would pull that out in a game.
No, it was priceless, absolutely priceless.
All right, well, let's change gears for a second. I'd like to ask Dre a couple questions. It's kind of our tradition here. We got a little rapid fire. You ready for this, Dre?
I'm always ready.
All right, I like that. So, favorite pregame meal?
Pre-game meal?
Do you have a routine that you usually eat, or is it something different?
Just different fruit. I might walk into the gym with an apple, some grapes, some strawberries, some blueberries, or I just do like a fruit salad, change it up a little bit, some kiwis, something real simple. I can't eat too heavy. Mm-hmm. At least now I can't. When I was like a teenager or back in my 20s, I was like, I would go into a game with some, full stomach Chinese food, sausage and pepperoni pizza, and I'd be good to go. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't feel nothing. But now, body started changing a little bit. Got to change that up a little bit. So I've been, I'm big in the fruit before a game.
Okay, so after a big win, what would your favorite snack be?
Favorite snack? A steak.
Steak? Oh, all right. Talking about a meal. I like that.
Yeah, I'm going out. Nah, after a game, I can't have no snack. I gotta fill my tank back up. So I'm going for something hefty. I gotta have some steak or some ribs or some, some fried chicken in some way, shape, or form, some wings. I gotta have that in my life here. That's a
Right.
snack to me. That's if I eat it in small portions, but
Mhm.
I can like a bag of chips ain't gonna do nothing for me, but upset me because I didn't eat enough. But yeah, gotta have something healthy. I mean,
What
well, hearty. I mean,
what's something about you that a person couldn't tell just by looking at you? Like a random fact about you that you might be a nerd, you might play Pokemon, or you might like, you know what I'm saying, just something
ah,
random. You might like wrestling.
that's exactly what I was about to say. Like, if you looked at me, you saw me walk into the gym without a wrestling T-shirt on, you'd be like, "There's no way he likes WWE
Hmm.
or AEW or WWF or WCW." Like,
Okay.
like I said, that's if I'm not wearing a T-shirt because I'm, majority of the games I'm walking in with a wrestling shirt on of some sort, and that was one of my other things that became like a tradition for me when I was in middle school, because my middle school we didn't have um, a mascot. So me and my teammates used to wear wrestling shirts in the warm up line. So guys would have on Austin 316 t-shirts and NWO t-shirts and things like that. So to kind of like keep that going, I still do that. And my couple of my buddies have come to games and they'll see me walk in and they're like, "Man, you still do that? That was 25 years ago."
Hmm. That's cool. So what's your favorite place to be?
uh Outside the basketball court.
Of course, yeah, outside of basketball.
uh Favorite place to be. That's tough. I really, man, I think I might have to just go with my bed.
All right, resting up.
Yeah, I
It,
gotta rest up because I'm always on the move, between my full-time job and coaching, um, my girls team that I have, and doing things with the zombies and working out and playing ball and rec leagues and things like that. I'm always moving and grooving. So yeah, definitely my favorite place to be is my bed. Just relaxing, taking it easy, getting my second win, getting mentally prepared for the next day. Yeah,
so
that's got to be it.
what's the best advice you give to a young basketball player? I mean, you coach the girls, so what do you tell the girls about being a good basketball player and how they'll get there?
Well, first off, I tell them I need effort on the court.
Hmm.
I need effort. I can take losing as much as it sucks, but if you're not putting any effort on the court, then it's just unacceptable. If you're putting in the effort and we just happen to lose, these kind of things do happen. But I do need effort. I do need hard work. I do need players that are out there that want to play,
Hmm.
that want to be there. They're dedicated to the game. So like the best advice I can give, a young ball player is leave it on the floor. Uh, do the best that you can. Try the best that you can. Put in the effort. And hard work always pays off. If you can't do it on one end of the court, try and do it on the other end of the court. I know I had players weren't the best offensive players, weren't the most talented players, but they were a terror on defense. I'll take that. I've seen it several times over the past, I want to say 9 years that I've been coaching. Always look for effort. Always look for guys and ladies to put in the hard work and just play their game, do the best that they can. And I always say to them, whenever you walk off the court, if you put in your best effort, win or lose or draw, as long as you put in your best effort, that's what really matters.
Right. Yeah, it's about just passing the game down to the next generation.
Absolutely, because having this player coach role helps with that. I know I'm not gonna be able to play forever. I know I only got a couple years left.
Hmm.
My legs are only gonna go so far. They're only gonna take me so far. They don't owe me nothing. My body don't owe me nothing as far as playing this game. But I still love to get out there and play. So like I said, I see it from, like we discussed earlier, see it from both angles with it. So
Right. So I'll have one last thing for us. Is Rick still here?
I'm here.
Oh, all right. So as Dre talks about, one of his last years and kind of passing down the game and still holding on to it and everything, I learned that Rick, your last year in the NBA was Larry Bird's first year in the NBA. What did you
Right.
see in that rookie year that maybe raised an eyebrow, or maybe you thought, or what did you think?
Well, you couldn't help but appreciate his knowledge of the game. I mean, he really understood how the game should be played. He wasn't the fastest guy in the world. He wasn't the greatest jumper in the world, but he probably got as much out of his natural skill and talent as anybody. Saw the floor, could pass the ball, create for his teammates, just great confidence in himself, which is the most important thing. You got to believe in yourself, and he certainly did that. But so it was kind of fun. Both he and Magic were rookies, so I did get to play against them in my last season in the NBA, and got to see two of the greatest players of all time and play against them. I've played against so many great players throughout my career. And people say, "Who's the best player I ever played against?" I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "How much time do you have?" I played against so many great players, but you can certainly tell that there was something special about both Bird and Magic.
That's nice. Yeah, you really played with a long list. Like I said, I looked up a few of the All-Star games you were in, and it just blows my mind the names I see and the skill and the talent that was there. I mean, you were facing Walt Frazier and Oscar Robinson in the All-Star game.
Oh no! I mean, I have a picture. This one picture I have from an All-Star game in 1967, where I was fortunate enough to get the MVP, and I've always felt, and I don't know why they don't do this, but the NBA never listens to me. They should never. There should be two awards. And first of all, the All-Star game now, it's not even the game anymore. Just get rid of all these. Right? It's bullshit. I mean, it's not. They don't even guard anybody. It should be called the All-Star exhibition, because that's what it is. It's no longer a game. It's no longer a competition. But back when we played, I have a picture, and there's, I think, 6 players or 7 players that are in that photo from '67, and every one of them is a top 50 player. I mean, the starting lineup in '67 for the Eastern Conference was Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry Lucas, and Bill Russell in the front line, and Oscar Robertson, and I think it might have been Hal Greer in the backcourt. So, I mean, all top 50 players. And we had Nate Thurman as our center, a top 50 player. Elgin was on the team. Dave DeBusschere was on the team. Jerry West. It was pretty special. In fact, the unique thing about that game, it's the only game ever that a coach got thrown out. Red Auerbach got thrown out of the game.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it was competition. It was highly competitive. I mean, you know why? Well, because I think the winning team got $3,000 and the losing team $1,500 or something like that. Well, shit, $3,000 is 1/5 of my freaking salary.
Yeah. Holy cow. I didn't realize the prize structure was like that back then. And of course, like you said, $250 million for a new contract, you can't even fathom it. And then you bring that back to then, $3,000 was the biggest incentive for people to try hard.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of money they get paid now to do it. I mean, even for the playoffs. I mean, these guys get playoff money that's worth more than. In fact, baseball, I just heard that one of the teams got like $500,000. I mean, my God, I mean, that's the most I ever made. The lowest paid guy in the NBA this past season, counting NBA properties money that he gets in the guaranteed contract. This is the guy that never plays. The lowest paid player in the NBA last year made twice as much money as I made in the best year I ever had.
But you know what that says? Is you busted your butt and you made a name for the NBA and everybody that came after you.
Yeah, here's the thing. I didn't even think about the money. I mean, not that I would have played for nothing, obviously, but it wasn't about the money. It was about, I just loved to play. That's why when they talk about this stuff and this load management stuff, I can't even relate to that. I hated when we were blowing somebody out of a game because I knew I wasn't going to get to play that much. I wanted to play. I always wanted to play. So, yeah, it's a whole different world. And I can understand why the owners are doing it. They have so much money invested in these guys. They're afraid of breaking them down and wearing them out and having them get hurt and then having all these guaranteed contracts that they gave them. And anyway, it is what it is. These guys are very, very fortunate. All professional sports throughout the world missed the boat because somebody wasn't smart enough. Because I talked about this so many years ago. There should only be a maximum number of dollars that any player can get guaranteed on his contract in any sport. And then it comes down to what professional sports should be all about. If you win, you make more money. If you don't win, you don't make the money. That's what happens in the individual sports. In golf, in tennis, you don't play, you don't win matches, you're not making money. Yeah. In basketball, you go out and suck and still get your money. Doesn't matter whether you win or lose. It's crazy. That's what they needed to do. I mean, I guarantee you want to talk about competitiveness. Hey, you can have the two worst teams playing the last game of the NBA season. You don't have to worry about people trying to go and lose games to get a better draft pick because the players would never go out to not try to win. Why? If they had money on the line and everybody would have money. Some of these guys would have $500,000 on the line if they didn't win.
Right.
You know, maybe somebody's only got 5,000. Depends upon how good you are. That's where an agent can come in. That would change pro sports dramatically. It'll never happen now because the players have too much power with the unions and all. But that would have made pro sports so much greater, so much better, so much more enjoyable for the fans to watch because you would have had